In this video, you're going to watch me do a speed run of building a clone of X, formerly known as Twitter, in Bubble completely with no code. Check the link in the description if you want to get more of our in-depth no-code and AI courses. Let's get into it. The first thing that I like to do when I'm building an app is go to the Data tab, and we're going to build out the database structure for this app. So we're building X or Twitter. I might refer to it as either one in this tutorial. But the first thing that I'm going to do is go to the user tab. So we're going to want to add a username field type, which is text. We also need to create a new field, which is profile picture. And we'll have that be an image. We need a bio, which is a text field. The password is automatically created by Bubble, so we don't have to create that field. And I think that's everything we need for the user table right now. So next, let's create the tweet data type. And then for tweet, we're going to have the content, which is the text content of the tweet. We're also going to have an image in case there's an image attached. We'll create that. And then I'm also going to create a field which is a reply to tweet or reply to reference. And it's going to reference the same data type, which is a tweet. So basically what this means is a tweet could be replying to another tweet. The creator is already built in automatically, so it's going to save who created the tweet as well as the creation date as well, which is really helpful. And then I'm going to create a new field as well, which is going to say liked by, and it's going to be user. And we're going to say this field is a list, so multiple users can like a tweet. So this is how we're going to keep track of how many likes each tweet has. I'm also going to go back to the user table, and I'm going to add a new field, which is followed by, and it's going to be the same user field type as a list. This allows multiple users to follow an individual. I'm going to create another field type here, which is going to be the follow table. And in the follow table, we're going to create two fields. One is going to be the follower user. And it's going to be a user. And then we're going to create another field type, which is the followee, basically the user who's being followed. So we have the follower and the followee. So we have that kind of match there in each row in the follow table. So we have tweets, we have users, and we have follows. One thing I didn't build in right now is retweeting, but we can get back to that later. So I think we have the basic database structure that we need right now for a Twitter clone. So let's jump in and start building the initial functionality. So we're going to go into the design tab. And what I like to do is just build out a little bit of the design structure first. And then I'm going to start building out kind of the workflows. So what I'm going to do is add I'm actually just going to pull up X or Twitter on my other screen so I can take a look at it. So what we want to do is build a kind of split the screen in two sides, on the left side and the right side. In Bubble, the way I like to do that is with a floating group. So with a floating group, you can have a group basically kind of stuck on the left side of the screen, which I find helpful. So we're going to go to layout of that floating group, min height of, I guess it doesn't, 250 is fine, but uncheck fit height to content. So it goes the entire length of the screen. Fixed width, I'm going to say 300. So it's just a little bit smaller there. And then I'm going to go to the appearance settings. We're going to define each border independently. We're going to add a right solid border of a very light gray. So here we can see we kind of have two sides on the left side and the right side. The floating group is kind of going over the entire page, and you'll see how we handle that in a minute. So now we have, okay, the left side here in that floating group. I'm going to go to layout. Okay, it's in column. That's great. I'm going to add some padding just all the way around it, 20 pixels all the way around. And then let's just go ahead and add a logo here. And I'm going to adjust the layout, not fixed width, 0, max width of, let's say, 100, and then height. Actually, let's upload a photo first. So I'm going to get an image of the old Twitter logo. Okay, so I just uploaded the logo. We're going to go to layout, and we're going to click keep element aspect ratio fixed. And that's just going to keep it looking a little bit better there. Maybe I'll make the max width 75 to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so we have our little logo up there on the left. And then I'm just going to go back to Twitter so I can see. And then we're going to add, we can add a menu later. Right now I'm going to move over to the right side of the screen. So to do this, I'm going to grab a group, drag it onto the page. So you can see we have this floating group overlay. And then we have this layer, which right now it's a fixed layout, so I can move it anywhere I want. So I want to go to the index page. The container layout, as you can see, it says it's fixed right now. I'm changing it to a column. And what that's doing is making the page responsive. So I'm going to go back to the group. You can see it's over here on the left side. So the first thing I need to do is add a margin left of 300. Because this overlay has a fixed width of 300, we need to put this as a margin left of 300 so that it's not covered by the overlay. I'm going to uncheck fixed width. I'm going to uncheck fix height to content. And I'm going to uncheck fit width to content because I want it to basically fill up the entire right side of the screen. I'll add padding of 20 pixels. Actually, I'm going to not have any padding right now. So we can always come back to that. But right now we just have this group. And then I want to build a really simple way for a user to actually post a tweet now. So we're going to add in a group and drag that here on top. And I'm going to name this. So first I'm going to name this big container just container. This group that I'm creating right now, I'm going to call it group post tweet. Let's uncheck fixed width, min height, let's say 100 for now. We're going to make this a row, and you'll see why. This basically allows us to have elements in here side by side instead of stacked on top of each other. We're going to apply gap spacing between elements. I'm going to say right now 15 between each one, which is going to just add spacing between the elements that we put on this inside the group. And then we're going to go ahead and add an image. So this image is the user profile picture. I'm going to go to layout. Let's make it 50 and fixed ratio of 1:1, so it's going to be small. We'll go to appearance and we'll add roundness of 100. And then I'm just going to upload a default picture right now since we have it built in the login and kind of all of that stuff. Okay, so I just uploaded this image from Pexels. Pexels.com is a way to get free images, so I just picked up a profile picture from there for now. And then we're going to add an input input field, which is going to be a multi-line input, and just drag that over. And then under the layout, we're going to uncheck fixed width, and we'll leave everything else the same for now. Under appearance, under placeholder, we'll say what is happening, because that's what it says on Twitter and X. We're going to change the style here of the standard multi-line input. We can just detach the style for now. And what I'll do is make this font a lot bigger. We'll make it a little bit darker. Actually need to do the placeholder color. So this I'll put back here. The placeholder color, we're gonna put this is the opacity. So basically, it's gonna be darker if it's 100. It's gonna be less dark if it's not. So we'll put it at 60 for now, maybe 75. So, yeah, that looks good for now. We're also going to go ahead and get rid of the border, because on Twitter it just kind of says this. On this group post tweet, we're going to go to the layout. We're going to add padding. Now, a lot of this is going to be just styling. I know we haven't gotten to any logic yet, but part of making the Twitter clone is making it look like Twitter and kind of showing you what's possible with Bubble. There's even, we could go to even greater lengths to make the design even better, but I'm going to do my best to make it look pretty close to Twitter without spending too much time on it. Okay, so we have our group post tweet, and then we need to add a post button. So to do this, we need to actually add another group, and you'll see kind of how I structure these groups in terms of columns and rows. So I'm just going to drag the group down here. First, put it up above, and this is going to be group post container. This is going to be a column. We're going to uncheck fixed width, so it goes all the way across. We're going to pull the group post tweet in here, so you can see that's inside. I'm actually going to go ahead also and remove the padding from group post tweet, because I'm going to add it to the group post container of 20 all around. And then what I'm going to do is add another group underneath inside of the group post container, and this is going to be the group post button, and this is where we're going to uncheck fixed width, and then we're going to add in a button here, which we're going to style. And on this group post button, the layout we'll just put as a row, and we'll put the alignment to the right. The button itself, we're going to say post. And then we're going to, let's edit the style of this primary button. What we need to do is make it so that, let's have no shadow. We need to make it so that the roundness is, I would say, 50. And let's make the font weight 700. And we can always change the color a little bit later. And then let's also go to the layout here and make the min width of this button, let's say 100, or maybe 75, 85. Okay. Cool. So now you can see we have our left side. We are starting to build in what this looks like here with the ability to write a tweet and then post it, which is pretty cool. And then I'm also going to go to this group post container, which is what's containing all of this. And we're going to add on the appearance, we're going to add a border. We're going to define each border independently by checking this box. Border bottom, we're going to have a solid color. And let's actually, to make this easier, so every border is going to have the same color, I'm going to show you a little trick in Bubble to edit the styles. I'm going to go to Styles, Style Variables. Let's create a new color variable, which I'll call Line. And I'm going to create it. And then for line, let's just make it like a really light gray. E3, E3, E3. And we'll go back to our designer. So first, under the floating group, let's change this line on the right to that style variable we just created, which is line. That way, if we ever want to change the color, we can change that in the style variable, and then everywhere on our site where we have that, it will update. And let's do the same for our group post container. So we'll go down to the style bottom. Let's change that to line. Okay, great. So now we have just a light separator here between the post and between the rest of where we're going to actually show the tweets. All right, so what we're going to do now is create our first post. So I'm going to go to this post button, add a workflow. What we're going to do is say create a new thing, which is a tweet. The content is going to be the multi-line inputs what is happening's value. The reason that's what it's called is because if you go to the design and you go to that input, that's what the title is. You could change that title to anything you want, and it'll match when you are working in your workflows here. And then image, liked, and replied to is just kept blank, and then created by is automatically saved with the creator of the post or creator of the tweet. So we're just going to create a new tweet. Then we're going to do reset relevant inputs, which is just going to clear out that multi-line input, essentially. So that's going to clear that out. And then what we can do is start to build out the structure of showing the tweets that are posted. So to do that, we're going to add a repeating group here inside our container. So you can see we have our group post container and then the repeating group. I'm going to name this repeating group tweets. The type of content is a tweet. We're going to uncheck fixed number of rows. We do want one column though. And then under layout, we'll uncheck fixed width. Min height, we'll uncheck fit height to content. And then what we're going to do is the data source, we can say doing a search for. This is how we get data from the database to show on the actual web browser. The type is a tweet. And right now we can just show all tweets on the platform here. What we could have is, two buttons to show all tweets and then only show tweets that are, from where the follower, where the user follows that follower who tweeted it. But right now we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to build out a basic setup here. Then we're going to create a group and drag that in. And this group is, we can call it group tweet container. Let's go ahead and uncheck fit width to content again, uncheck fit height to content, so it'll fill up the whole space. Then let's, actually similarly to the group post container, I think that what might actually make this a little bit easier, since we already kind of built out some of this structure, which I think is going to be helpful, I'm going to copy that group post container and just paste it here in below and delete what we just did. So here you can see it pasted, and it pasted it with everything we had up here, but it also is showing kind of in a little bit of a lighter color below, which shows that it's kind of a repeating group. Each tweet is going to be dynamically shown. You'll see how I do that in a second. But here, what's nice is we already built out that user profile, so we don't have to design it all again. It makes it a little bit easier. So instead of a static image, it's going to be a dynamic image. Insert dynamic image, which actually before we do that, we just need to set the type of content of all these groups. So the type of content is a tweet. The data source is the current cell's tweet, because each of these cells in the repeating group is a tweet, a data type. We're going to go down, and you have to do it for each group as well, is a tweet, and it's the parent group's tweet. And we can do the same. Well, we're not going to use the button, I don't think. So right now we don't have to worry about that. We'll go back to the user profile. Dynamic image is parent group's tweets creator profile picture. So it's as simple as that. Now it's dynamically showing the profile picture. We're going to drag a text field in and delete the multi-line input. And then this is going to be insert dynamic data, parent groups tweets, content. So it's just going to be the content of the tweet. We do need to add another group inside here, inside that row, because on the row we have the left side the image, the right side the tweet. But this needs to be the tweet details group, which is going to be a column. And you'll see a lot of building this out is just making sure that we have the groups structured correctly for the design. So we'll pull that in. This is going to be a column because we're going to show the tweet author name, the username, and then the tweet itself, because that's what it is on Twitter. So here, the tweet details group, we're going to go ahead to appearance, and let's do the type of content is a tweet again. It's the parent group's tweet. So here on the top, it's not going to be parent group's tweets content. It's going to be the parent group's tweets creators username. Actually, I realize on X you have the username, but you also have basically your profile name. So I'm going to go back to the data tab under user. So we have username, but I'm going to add profile name. So the profile name does not have to be unique, but the username does have to be unique. So first we're going to do the profile name. And it looks like on Twitter, this is bold. And then I'm going to copy it. And then we're going to do the username. And this I'm going to make regular and add the @ before. I'm also going to go into our layout here, change it to a row, because this is what it's like on Twitter. Add gap spacing of 10 and 10, maybe even 7 and 7. And then we need to have the username. And then how it is on Twitter is we will put a space, and then we're going to insert dynamic data, which is the it's basically the time since the tweet was created. So what we're going to do is, actually I think it might be a little easier to have it as a separate field. So I'm going to copy this again, so it's parent group tweets creator username, but I'm going to delete everything in here. It's going to be the parent group's tweets, or it's going to be, sorry, it's a little bit confusing. Insert dynamic data. We're going to do current date time minus parent group's tweets creation date. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say format as hours. So it's going to say, how many hours. We're going to say rounded to 0 because I want it to not have any decimal points. And then I'm going to go ahead and put an H, basically. So it'll say 10 hours, 0 hours, so you can see kind of what it's going to look like here. Now, on Twitter, these are all on one line, and that's what it's going to be on the real app when we're live. But you can see when you're in Bubble and you're building it out, this is really long, so it's kind of putting it on the next line. But on Twitter, it's all going to be on the same line. I'm going to add one conditional to this, which is going to say when current date time is minus parent group's tweets creation date formatted as minutes is less than 60. So when it's less than 1 hour, I want to update the way that we display this text to show it as minutes instead of hours. So to do that, what we're going to do is say the same logic, current date time minus parent group's tweets creation date, formatted as minutes. I can say rounded to 0, and we're just going to say M there, basically. And then we're going to do this one more time. I'm just going to copy this condition and paste it below. So I'm going to say when it's formatted as days and it's greater than 1, or maybe what I want to say is greater than or equal to 1 day, then what I'm going to do is change this to say formatted as days, rounded to 0, and what we're going to do is say days. So basically what this will do is either show hours, minutes, or days, depending on how long it's been since the tweet was generated. So a really helpful tip with conditional formatting there. Okay, so on the right side here, now we have the group post tweet, which is a row. Then we have, so the image on the left side, the tweet details group on the right side here. But we're going to have to add another group to help organize this a little bit more. So I'm just going to drag it in and then pull it down here under the user profile. This is going to be a column. We're going to uncheck fixed width. And I'm going to pull that tweet details group inside of it, making sure that that group G, which I'll just say right column, and then the type of content, again, is a tweet, the parent group's tweet. So here we have this row of information about the tweet, so who created it, the username, and the date time. So now what we're going to do is right underneath that, I believe this we don't need a group for. Let me just pull that in here. Is that in the right column? Nope, you just have to drag that in, drag it back up. This is going to be the actual tweet. So it's going to be the parent group's tweets content. This right column, let's add a gap spacing. So you can see how there's no gap here. If I add a row gap of 20, now there is spacing automatically. Maybe I'll do 15 or maybe just 10. So there's a little bit less of a space. And then what we can do is add an image field, drag that in underneath. So you can see it's right underneath the text. This is the dynamic image. I'll say it is the parent group's tweets image. What I'm going to do is under layout, we're going to say it's not visible on page load, and it's going to be collapsed when hidden. And we're going to hide it when the parent group's tweets image is empty, so there's no image. What we're going to do is make it not, or when it's not empty, sorry. So by default, it is empty. When it's not empty, we're going to show this image. So by default, this is going to be hidden. Now, we didn't include the ability to upload an image yet, which we can do. We just haven't done that yet, but I still want to build that out here in our right column. So we have the tweet details, we have the content, and then we have the image itself. Okay, great. So the next thing that I want to do is add the bottom part of the tweet where we see the comments, the likes, the retweets. You can bookmark, that kind of thing. So to do that, we're going to reuse this group post button, which is already a row, but I'm going to change it to group post bottom. So it's the bottom here. And what we're going to do is add little groups inside of this. So I'm going to add a group here. It's over on the right side because that's how we set this up for now, and I'm put it over to the left side. I'm deleting the button because we're not going to use that anymore. So this group inside, I'm going to call it group likes. And we're going to, we can keep fit width to content. And then what I'm going to do is add an icon here inside that group likes. And we can choose different icon sets. Let's see if material has one that we like. Comment. It's not exactly what I want. Let's try feather. Comment. No. Let's try font awesome. Let's go with font awesome and use this. And change the icon color to, let's create another color variable here. And I'm going to call it light gray. Create, and let's create like a little bit of a darker version of that line that we created earlier. So let's do this dark gray. And then I'm going to add a text field inside. And this text, we're going to insert dynamic data. Actually, before we do that, we need to set it so the group likes, the type of content is a tweet, and the data source is the actually do that again for the group post bottom. So you see we have to kind of do it for all of them. The tweet, the data source is the parent group's tweet, and then same for group likes, tweet, parent group's tweet. Okay, now we'll go to that text inside. It is going to be the parent group's tweets liked by count. So we're going to show the total number of likes, and I'm going to do the color of that text the same as that comment. I'm going to make it a little bit darker actually also. So let's go to the style variables and let's just make that color a little darker. And this is where style variables are awesome. So I made it a little darker and now these are both darker. It just updated both of them, which is great. We're going to change this layout to a row. We're going to add gap spacing of 5 and 5. And again, this is just going to be really small on the real tweet because it'll be the tweet. It'll just say a number, but here it's showing us longer. We're also going to update the alignment. So we're going to update that to the center, update the icon to the center. And I'm going to change the row gap maybe to even 3 and 3. So it's a little bit less here because there's already, you can see a little bit of a gap in the icon itself. So I don't want there to be too much spacing. Okay, awesome. So now group likes, I'm going to copy it, or sorry, group comments. Whoops. Oh, sorry, this was comments. So right now I have parent groups liked by count. I'm going to copy this just so I don't have to do that again because this is going to be the likes. I'll update this to a heart. Parent groups tweets liked by count. And I'll change, this is group likes. This one on the left side is group comments. And this, instead of parent groups liked by count, what we need to do is do a search for tweets where reply to equals, this is the comment reference, parent group's tweet. So where the reply is this tweet, we're going to close and do a count. So this is searching for tweets count. This is the likes. In this group post bottom, we're going to add a layout and go to gap spacing and change it to 10 and 10. So there's some spacing in between each of these on the bottom. I'm also going to make this icon just a little smaller. Let's do 25 and 25, and then same here. For the heart, 25 and 25. So this is the group likes. Again, I didn't build out retweets yet, so I'm just not going to create retweets right now. Let's add another one. This is just going to be a bookmark. So let's go ahead and change this icon from a heart to a bookmark. And under layout, let's uncheck, put min width to 0 here. Can do that for all of them because there's no need to have a min width of these parts on the bottom here. Okay, so now we have comment, like, and bookmark. On Twitter, they also, or X right now, they have view count and retweet, but we're not going to deal with that right now. We can always add that in later. So this is looking pretty good. We have our left side column here. We have our tweet here on the top. And then we have all of our tweets here on the right side. So this is pretty good right now. I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so let's add a little bit more logic here. So first let's do the bookmark. What I need to go is go to data under users. Let's create a new field, which is bookmarks. The field type is going to be tweets, and it is a list because users can save multiple bookmarks. So let's go ahead and click this. We're going to add a workflow. So when that icon is clicked, I'm going to change the title of that to icon bookmark. I'll do the same here for the heart, icon heart. And then this will be icon comment. So when I click on this edit workflow, what we're going to do is make changes to we'll do make changes to current user. So that's the logged in user. Bookmarks add, and we're going to add parent group's tweet. So we need to do this twice, actually. There's different ways to do it, but this is how I'm going to do it here. So we're going to say when the current user's bookmarks doesn't contain parent group's tweet, then we're going to add it. But I'm going to copy and paste this. When the current user's bookmarks contains the parent group's tweet, we're going to remove the tweet from the bookmark. And then we're going to add conditional formatting here. So when the current user's bookmarks contains parent group's tweet, we're going to add a condition. The icon color, we'll change it to our primary color here. So it'll light up in blue for the current user when they add it as a bookmark. Okay, great. And we're going to do similar logic here for the heart. So we're going to add a workflow. And the first workflow will be to make changes to a thing, which is the parent group's tweet. We're going to say liked by add current user. And we're going to do the same logic when the parent group's tweets liked by doesn't contain current user. And we're going to do the same thing where we copy that, paste it on the right side. So when it contains current user, we're going to remove liked by if you click it. And then we'll do the same thing with the heart. Conditional when parent group's tweets liked by contains current user. We're going to change the icon color to the primary color here. Okay, great. So we have that. I'm going to do one more small thing here, which is on the repeating group tweets under the appearance. I'm going to edit the standard repeating group and just remove the border from that because I don't want a border and I don't want lines in between. By default, I'd rather design that with the group post container, which I do because here we're defining the border independently and we have a solid bottom line here. So that looks just a little bit cleaner. We don't have double lines. So this is looking pretty good. Under the group post bottom, let me just go to layout, min height, make that 0. And for these group comments, I'm going to make these min heights 0 as well. The group likes, min height 0. And same with the group, this should say group bookmarks, which is really just for kind of consistency. Okay, I knew there was something a little bit off there, so that looks better. Okay, great. So the next thing I'm going to do is build out the post page or the tweet page, which is where we're going to see the tweet and all of the comments under the tweet. So we're going to be able to reuse a lot of what we already did, so it should make it a little bit easier to create. So we have our index page here, which is our home page. What we want to do is add a new page. The page name can be tweet. And let's actually just clone it from the index page. I'm going to click create. And I'm going to make some differences here, but one thing that's nice is by default we have everything we did is just cloned directly over, but we do need to make some changes. So what we're going to do on the tweet page here, under appearance, you can change the page title to tweet, or you could say we can just have it as tweet for now, doesn't really matter. The type of content, this is really important. It is a tweet. So basically, all of the data on this page is going to be pulled in from an individual tweet. And that's going to be, you'll see kind of how important that is in a second here. So we have this group post container, which includes everything about the tweet. So what I'm going to do is copy that, and then I'm just going to paste it inside of the container here, and then drag it up to the top. So here we're going to show the post, but the difference is we're going to get the data, the type of content's a tweet. The source is the current page's tweet here. So the source is the current page's tweet. And just by doing that, everything else here is going to pull in because we already just have it coming in from the parent group's tweet. And this is coming in from the current page, as opposed to coming in from the repeating group here. Above it, I just want to add a group on the top of the container, right above, which is going to be group top. We're going to have an icon here inside with a left arrow. I just have to get a good left arrow here that I like. Okay, so a little left arrow here. The color will be that light gray. And then we're going to add text inside that group. And let's change this to a row. And min height 0, min width 0. We'll add gap spacing of 20 and 20. This, I'm just going to say post. And we'll make it a heading 6. Maybe a heading 5. I'll call it tweet. I think on X now they changed it all to post, but we'll do tweet. And then on this icon, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's say 45. That's too big. Maybe 35. Make sure the vertical alignment is center. Vertical alignment is center here. And then under group top, let's just add padding left of 20. Maybe 15 and 15. So now here we have this on the top, so it shows that you can kind of go back. When you click group tweet, we're going to add a workflow and navigate to the index page. So you'll kind of go back to the home page when you click back. Then we have the tweet itself. And then we're going to change this a little bit. So it looks similar, but we're going to change the multi-line input to post your reply as the placeholder. And on Twitter, it looks like the design is a little bit different. This post button is up here. So I'm going to drag this up and leave it like this and delete that group post button on the bottom. So it posts your reply and then post. And it looks like the design here is a little different. The layout will make the min height 50, maybe even 40. That's fine. Actually, we can also make the text a little bit smaller. I think that looks pretty good, and that's fine. And then the group post tweet, the min height can be 0. Okay, cool. So then under this repeating group, we just have to make a small change here. We're going to search for tweets, but where the reply to equals parent group's tweet. Or sorry, not parent, current page's tweet. We can also sort by where created date, sort by created date, and then descending we can say no, or I guess either way, we can say yes, so all the newest replies will show up at the top. Or you could say no, where the oldest replies show up. We'll say no, so the oldest replies will show up at the top here. And then everything else we built should be okay here right now. What we can do is create, one thing we could do in the future is create a reusable element here. Since this is the same as on the index page, what's nice about creating a reusable element is anything that you make, any changes you make to this will also update here as well. So we might do that in a little bit. I'm also just going to go up to this group top. Let's add top and bottom padding of 15 as well. Okay, cool. So now a little thing we're going to do, go back to the index page. Actually, before we go back to the index page, I do want to create a reusable element out of this group post container here. Because there's certain things I want to happen every time that we click this, and we don't want to duplicate the logic. So we're just going to go ahead and right click. We're going to say convert into a reusable element. You want to make sure you're on that entire group post container. And I'm just going to call it group, I'll say tweet container, and create. So here it created this reusable element for us, which is great. And then under the workflows, you can see all of that logic for the icons and everything, and the hearts are all there. The type of element is a tweet, which you want to make sure it is, because we're going to set the tweet value when we use the reusable component. So now we can go back to that tweet page. Here where we have that group host container, right above it, just search for group tweet container. That reusable element will show up at the bottom. And we're just going to drag that in, make sure it's above. And then the data source is going to be the, so here the data source is current cells tweet. And it's going to be the same thing here. Current cells tweet is the data source. And then we can go ahead and just delete that group host container. And here that is just the exact same thing, but it's the reusable element. And we can do the same thing up here. We can search for that group tweet container, drag it in, making sure it's on top there. The data source here is the current page's tweet. And then we're going to delete that group, that one where it was just all built out individually. And then also if we go to the workflows, you can see now we no longer have the workflows for the like and comment and bookmark, or the like and bookmark, which is good because now we don't have to reuse that logic in multiple pages. So we're going to update this as well. Now the image here isn't showing up, but it will when we actually have a real image. So this is great. This is a lot cleaner. We're going to do the same thing on the index page. So let's just search for that group tweet container, drag that in, making sure it's on top here. The data source is the current cells tweet. And let's just go ahead and delete what we had there. So this is a lot cleaner by having that. And now we can build in a little bit more logic here. So what I want to do is go to that reusable element, the group tweet container. Whoops. You have to do it on the page. So go to the down to the group tweet container. And there's a couple things I want to do. First, when we click on the entire thing, we're going to want to go to that page. So what I'm going to do is add a layer in here, actually, just above. We're going to drag in both of these, making sure they're in the right order. We're going to change this group to a fit width, uncheck fit width to content, uncheck fit, or check fit height to content is fine. We can do 0 for min width. This is going to be the group container inside the tweet container. And then we're going to have the type of content be a tweet. The data source is the group tweet container, or actually just the parent group's tweet works fine. We're going to change it so this overall group tweet container layout, the padding is 0. And we're going to add that padding to the group container that we just created of 20. So this is just some styling thing. And then what we're going to go is go to the appearance. Under conditional, we're going to add. And when this group is hovered, we're going to change the background style and the background color. You have to have both background style of flat color, background color of this. And we're going to change it to light gray, or that wine color. So basically, when we hover, we're going to go to appearance, have a transition of background style, transition of 200. This is going to make it kind of be a little bit of a fade in, fade out transition. So when we hover over, basically we're going to see the user is going to see that interaction that we're hovering. Then we're going to add a workflow when you click to navigate, go to page, go to tweet, send the parent group's tweets data. So we're going to basically go to that tweet page when you click on that tweet. So this is really great. So now automatically when you're on the index page and you click on a tweet, it's going to take you to that tweet page. And then same thing, if you click on one of the comments here, it'll take you to that comment tweet page as well. Okay, so we're making a lot of really good progress. The next thing I want to do is add a pop-up to comment. And this is how X currently does it. So if we go to the group tweet container, when we click on this comment group, what I want to do is have a pop-up show where you can leave a comment and post a comment. So what we're going to do is search for pop-up, drag it in. So now we have a pop-up here as an overlay. I'm going to name it pop-up comment. And we're going to, let's say the min width is, let's say 300, max width of 800, uncheck fit width to content. And under min height, let's just say 100. And under appearance, the type of content we'll say is a tweet. The data source we're going to leave empty because we're going to fill it in when we open this pop-up. I'm going to get out of the pop-up for a second. I'm actually going to go back to the tweet page and this post your reply. I'm going to copy it because I want to use this in the pop-up. So I'm going to copy it, go back to our group tweet container, click on this I to open up the pop-up, and paste that in. So we have this post your reply. This we also need to change the dynamic image. We can do that on the tweet page as well. So the dynamic image is going to be current user's profile picture. And then post your reply, and then we're going to change this button to reply. And then we can change it to, it doesn't really matter, tweet your reply, post your reply. And then what I want to do as well is above this, we're going to show the tweet that you are replying to. So to do this, I'm going to go back out again. We're going to go ahead and copy that the section above the post bottom. So I don't want to bring this part in, but I do want to bring everything else in. We're going to open that pop-up again. Let's paste it in to the pop-up. Actually going to go over to the left side. This makes it a little bit easier sometimes than just paste because I want it to be separate, and then pull that up here. I'm also going to go to that pop-up comment, add padding around the whole pop-up of 20. So here, on the left side, group post container, I'm also going to remove the padding here. So here we have on the group post tweet, the user profile, and then the right column. I want to add on Twitter and X, there's a little line here to show that you are replying. So to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and add a group here on the left side. I'll call this left column. Add that user profile in. And then what I want to do is have a line. So to do that, we're going to add in a group here and have it be underneath the image. What we're going to do is have it be a fixed width of 2, let's say. Let's put it in the center. Min height of 0, but we're going to uncheck, min height of 30 for now. Okay. And then we're going to go to appearance. We're going to add a border style. Let's say all of it independent. Let's say right border, solid, and it can be that light gray color here. And let's have it be a width of 2, I think. Yes. Let's make it a little bit lighter. Let's do the line. We kind of need something in between. So let's go to our style variables. Let's add one more style variable, which is light gray 2. Let's create it, and let's just do something a little bit darker than this one. Or sorry, lighter than this one, but darker than this one. Okay, so we'll go back and change this to light gray 2. Okay. And under left column, I want to uncheck here under this group. I'm going to call it group vertical line. And then let's go ahead and add padding, or under left column, we can add gap spacing of maybe 5, just so there's a little space there. Min height of 0 here under the group post tweet. And then the pop-up itself will add gap spacing of 10. And then here, let's change this to gap spacing of 10 as well. So now there's going to be a line going from the initial post to our reply. Okay, great. I'm just going to also go back out really quickly. I want to go back to the index page because here I want that group post bottom because that I'm going to copy it, go back, because that's how it is on X, and go back to the group tweet container, open up that pop-up. In that container, let's just paste that in. Whoops, I'm going to go back. It's in the pop-up. Let's paste that in. Whoops, the wrong thing seemed to be copied. So let me delete that and go back to our index page. I just want to get this group post bottom. I'm going to copy that, go back to the group tweet container, open that up, and I want this to show up underneath the tweet here. So I'm going to paste that group post bottom. Exactly. Perfect. Delete that button, reply. So here we're tweeting our reply, and then this is where we could add in images or other things that Twitter has or X has kind of on there on the site right now. So we're matching the design as close as we can in making it as relatively simple as we can. I'm going to make the padding 25 all the way around. And then let's also just go ahead and add an icon here on the top left. And let's make it an X. And then change the icon color to our gray here. And let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's say 40, maybe 35. And what we're going to do is when we click that X, we're going to hide an element, which is the group or the pop-up comment. And then I also, on this group post tweet container, we're going to get rid of that border style bottom. Okay, so this looks pretty good. So what we're going to do, this is the multi-line input, let's say reply comment. And that's all fine. So when we post it, I'm just going to add also to this group post container gap spacing of like 5. So when we post this button post reply comment, we'll add a workflow. What we will do is create a new thing. It'll be a new tweet where the content equals multi-line inputs reply comments value. It'll be a reply to, and it'll be a reply to the pop-up comments tweet. And that's so we know who we are replying to. And right now we don't have image, so we don't have to worry about that, so we'll just delete it. And then what we'll do is we will, I want to go to a page, and I want to go to the tweet that we just replied to. So it'll be the comment, the data to send is pop-up comments tweet. So we're going to go to the tweet page once we make that reply. Okay, awesome. So this is looking really good. I'm going to hide this. So now anywhere on the site that you click this comment button, we're going to add a workflow. We're going to say show an element, which is the pop-up comment, that pop-up we just created. And this is very important. You're going to click display data in a group pop-up, and we're going to display the parent group's tweet. So we're going to put the parent group's tweet as the comment that you're going to be replying to. Okay, great. This is awesome. Let's see what issues we have. Dynamic data must be, okay, so there's an issue here with the left column. The issue is the left column here that I just created in this pop-up. I need to have it be a type of content, which is a tweet, and the data source is the parent group's tweet. So that's nice. Bubble will let you know if you accidentally forgot to do that. Otherwise, it wouldn't know what data to pull in for that image. Okay, awesome. So let's go back to our index. I'm going to change this from a dynamic image into current user's profile picture. And let's go to the tweet page. Same thing. We'll change this to a dynamic image to be current user's profile picture. Okay, awesome. And I don't know if we built out the logic here for this reply yet. So what we can do is edit workflow. Looks like we did. Create a new tweet, reset relevant inputs. So that part looks good, although I think we need to also say reply to equals current page's tweet, because this we copied over from the index page. Yeah, perfect. So you're posting it, it's going to the home page, but if you're replying, it needs to go to the other page. Now what we're going to do is create the profile page. So let's go ahead, add a new page. It'll be profile. And I'm going to clone from the tweet page. So let's go ahead and click create. So now we have our profile page. And we just have to change a few things here. So we'll go to the profile. The page type can be, well, first we'll change the type of content to a user. And then the dynamic content can be current page users, not current user, current page users, username. And then here under tweet, instead of tweet, let's delete that and say current page users username. Okay, great. We have to make a few more changes here. So here at the top, we're going to have to build out a section for the profile. We no longer need to have this reply button. And then for the repeating group tweets, we're going to search for tweets where created by equals current pages user. So it's going to show all of the current pages users tweets, and we're going to sort by descending, yes, so that all the newest tweets show up at the top. Okay, great. So now we just have to build out that top section where we're going to have information about the user's profile. So we're going to drag in a group here. We'll put that here on the top. So we have group top here, just that back button. Group B, this is going to be group user profile section. Uncheck fixed width, and on the top here, we're going to have, let's see how we want to do this. Why don't we start by having the profile image. So I'll take that image, I'll drag it in. The dynamic image is going to be the current page user's profile picture. We will make it, let's say, 250, and then fix it to 1:1, maybe 150, actually. Under appearance, we'll make the roundness 100, so it's a circle, and it will be image, profile, picture. Okay, awesome. Now, above that profile picture, we're going to add in, oops, not a group, another image. And this is going to be image background, or a header image profile. And for this, we just have to add another data type to the user. So we have profile picture, and we're going to create another one, which is header image, or header picture, which is an image. We'll create. We'll go back to the design. So this, we're going to be a dynamic image, where it's current page users header picture. The layout will uncheck fixed width. And we will, under the appearance, zoom. So it's going to not stretch out that picture. We can just leave it like that for now. And we'll see how it looks when we actually kind of have it live. But we have that header picture. For this image, what I want to do is, under the layout, I want the margin top to be -50. So it's going to overlap, maybe even -75 here. And then what I'm going to do under appearance is have the border style be solid, width of 5, but I'm going to make the color white. And basically what this is going to do is make that profile picture stand out with that header image. The header image, I'm also going to make the min height, or maybe I'm going to make fixed height of 200 here. So we have the header image. Then underneath we have this profile image. We have the group user profile section. And inside we have these two things. So what I'm going to do next is add a group inside. So this is just more styling to make it work correctly. So this, I'm going to say header container. We're going to uncheck fixed width. Oh, whoops. Go back. Under the header container, we're going to uncheck fit width to content. We're going to add padding around all sides of 20. So inside the header container, we have the image here. And then so we have the left side, we're going to have the image. And on the right side, we're going to have the subscribe button. So let's go ahead and add a button here, drag it underneath, change it to subscribe, or follow instead of subscribe. Oops. That header container, let's change to a row. Let's change alignment to this one, which is space between, which is going to put the profile all the way on the left, the button all the way on the right. Just going to add a little more padding on the left and right here. Okay, great. So we have the header image, the profile image, and we have our header container, min height of 0. So I think this is all looking pretty good. So now what we're going to do underneath is add another group here above that repeating group tweet, uncheck fixed fit width to content. I'm going to do padding of 20 again on all sides. This is going to be group user info. So we're going to add in a text field. This is going to be the current pages users profile name, and the style will be a heading, maybe a heading 5, maybe even a heading 6, be a little bit smaller. Then we'll add in text underneath it, which will be at. So we'll manually type in at, and then we'll do current page users username. And then in this group user info, I'll add gap spacing of like 2, let's say. Then we're going to drag in current users or current page users bio. And let's just go ahead and I think that's fine here. Then we're going to add in a group. We're going to add in 2 groups. One on top. This is just going to be name and user name. This is a column. I just want to pull both the name and the username into this, and you'll see why in a second. In between here, the gap spacing will be 3, but then in the whole group user info, the gap spacing will be 15. So there's just more space in between the bio and this. So that added 15 pixels of spacing there. Then we're going to add in another group below, and we're going to make this a row. Uncheck fixed width to content. This is going to be user details. So follower and following count. We're going to add in a group right here. This will be group following. And we will add in text here. So we're going to say do a search for follow where the follower user, so the person who's following, equals current pages user. So these are the number of users that the current page user is following. So this we're going to make bold. We're going to add one more text inside here, which is just going to say following. And we can make this lighter gray. So the group following, actually just make sure that it's all inside. Group following is going to be a row. So it's side by side. We'll add gap spacing of 2, maybe 3. Min height of 0, min width of 0. And that looks good. And then we're going to just copy it and then paste. So I did Control-C here to copy it and then pasted it under user details. And this will be group followers. And this will be search for follows where the followee equals current page user. And we'll delete the follower, and it's the count. So search for followers, and then this is following, and then this is followers. And then under user details, we'll just go to layout, min height of 0, fit width to content, add gap spacing, 10 and 10. Awesome. So we have the bio, the following count, and then below we have all of the users' tweets. So I just want to under group page info, Let's add appearance, and let's add border style on the bottom. That's solid, and it uses that line color that we created earlier. So here we have the image, we have the profile picture, the follow button, and we have the current pages tweet. So there's more information on actually X, such as kind of muting things. There's actually a link as well that you can add to your profile. So I didn't include every single thing right now, but we can always add more in later. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the follow button. Let's add a workflow here. So when we click on that follow button, what we're going to do is create a new thing. It's going to follow, and what we're going to say is the follow E equals current pages user, and the follower equals current user. I'm just going to change that followee to followee user, so it's the same. And then I'll go back to the workflow. So we're going to create this when doing a search for follow, where the follower user equals current page user and the followee user equals current user. Wait, I did that wrong. 1 second. It should be the opposite. So the follower user equals current user, the followee equals current pages user. So we're going to search for this row. If the count is 0, then we're going to create this new thing. But what we're going to do is paste when we search and the count is greater than 0, we're going to delete a thing, which is going to be doing a search again for the follow, where followee, we'll add follower, the follower equals current user, and the followee equals current pages user. And then it'll be the first item here. So we will delete it if there's already a follow, and if not, we will create it. And then what we can do is dynamically on this button, when we do a search for the user, or sorry, for the follow, where the followee equals current page user, the follower equals current user, where the count is greater than 0, the text, the button, the label, can change to unfollow. Great. So we have the follow logic built out there, and we have all the tweets. So that should all be working. So now what we're going to do is add the edit profile button for the current user. So the first thing I want to do is when you're on the profile page, and I'm going to add a condition to this button follow, when the current user is current pages user, we're going to hide this button. And then we're going to show a different button next to it, and we can just have them both here for now because it doesn't really matter. In the editor, it's going to say edit profile. And then also under the follow button, under layout, we're going to collapse when hidden. Under this edit profile, we're going to not load on page. We're going to collapse when hidden. But then when the current pages user is current user, we're going to show this edit profile. And we're going to do the same for the follow. I like it to be not shown by default. And then when current user is not current pages user, we'll show it. So now we have this edit profile button, and we're going to want to show a pop-up when we click this edit profile button, and we're going to have all of the current user's details to edit it. To get that pop-up, so we don't have to repeat all of the same styling, I'm going to go to that group tweet container. That pop-up comment, I'm going to copy, go back to the profile on that page. I'm just going to paste it in. So now we have a pop-up. It's obviously different, but it still is helpful to have. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change it to pop-up edit profile. Under appearance, the type of content is a user, and we're going to set the data source to current pages user, or current user, sorry. So the data source can just be current user, actually, because the only person who's going to see it is the current user. And then we can go ahead and delete what we have here, because we're going to need to create new content for inside. So we'll leave the top, which is just the X out. We have the container. I can just change this to group container. And then what we're going to need to do is have the user be able to change their header image and their profile image and then their details. So to do this, let's first grab the picture uploader, drag that in. Under layout, let's go ahead and uncheck fixed width, height of 200. So this is kind of the header image where you can click to upload an image. By default, what I'm going to do is the dynamic image is the current page's user's header picture. So that should work great. I'm going to drag in now another picture uploader below it. And this is how they set it up on X itself. So this I'm going to call picture uploader header. This I'm going to call picture uploader profile. So for this one, we're going to add a roundness of 100. Under layout, let's go ahead and have the margin top be -75. So it's overlapping. And then what I'm going to do is have the dynamic image be current pages, or current user's profile picture. And this should be current user's profile header picture. So now it'll show up, but you can also upload a different one as well. So then what I'm going to do is add a conditional when this picture uploader's value is not empty. We're going to add the dynamic image. Actually, I don't know if we need to do that. So we'll just leave it as it is, and we can always test. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. Let's add a group here underneath. This will be group edit info, layout, uncheck fit width to content. We're going to go ahead and add in a text field, which is going to say name. We're just going to add layout of gap spacing of 10 here. We're going to add in a input field underneath. Under this input, we'll uncheck fixed width, min width of 0. Under appearance, let's go ahead and edit the standard input so that there's no border. And then let's change it to 18. So we'll go back, and now we have name, and then you can type your name. I'm just going to change the name color to our light gray that we created earlier. And then this group edit info, I'm going to go ahead and add padding of 10 all the way around. But then under appearance, let's go ahead and add a border that's solid, and we'll make it the line color. Let's see how that looks. Okay, pretty good, but I'm going to add a little bit of roundness, 5. And then I'm also under the input. Let's go to layout. Padding, I'm going to have 0. I'm actually going to go to I can just override it to 0. Okay. And then I'm going to change the row gap to 5, maybe even 4. Okay. And then under the appearance, the initial content is going to be the current user's profile name. So now we have the name. I'm also going to change the edit profile gap to 15. Group edit name, And then this input will be input name edit. And then let's just copy and paste. So below we're going to say bio. And then we'll change this to input bio edit. And then the default will be current user's bio. And then we currently only allow you to have a name. We don't have the location and website the way that Twitter currently does, but that's okay. We can always add that in later. And then up here on the top, so we have this X. I'm going to add a group. This is going to be group top. Layout is a row. We're going to add the save button up here. Uncheck fit width to content. Drag in that X. Have the X be centered. And then add a button here as well, which is going to be space between. This, we're just going to say save. Oops, save. Okay, great. So we have X, we have save. And then when we hit save, what we can do is add a workflow where what we're going to do is make changes to current user. The bio we're going to change, the header picture, the profile name, and the profile picture. So we're not going to change the username. That's going to be set right now. So we have input bio edit for the bio. The header picture, let me just make sure I have header and profile, so that's fine. Header picture is picture uploader's headers value. The profile name is the input name edits value, and the profile picture equals the picture uploader's profiles value. Okay, great. So we're going to save, and then we're going to hide an element, which is the pop-up edit profile. And then what we can do is go out. So we have to get to it because we hid them. When we go to user details, or sorry, here on the header container, button edit profile, when you click on that, we're going to go ahead and show an element, which is going to be the pop-up edit profile. Okay, great. So we built all of that out as well. Now what I want to do is just quickly build out a little sidebar here. Now, I don't have messaging built out. There's a lot of things that we haven't built out yet, but we're just going to build very simply a group inside this floating group, which is going to be group, and we'll call it buttons. We'll do layout. We'll uncheck fixed width, uncheck fit height to content, and then we'll add a group inside. So this is going to be group home. Uncheck fit width to content. Min height of, let's just keep it at 5. Let's keep it at 20 right now, and we'll add it. We'll change it in a second. The icon just makes it easier to drag in an icon if we have a height. So this is going to be home. So we can do, let's do a different one. Let's see what we have as options for home. Okay, we can just do this one here. And then for the color, we'll do gray. And then under group home, we'll do layout, gap spacing of 5. We'll add text inside, make it a row, and we will center everything. And then for the text, we'll say home. The body will be body large. Let's make it medium, and then the color is that dark gray. And then let's go ahead and under layout, let's just give it, actually let's keep it, let's add gap spacing a little bit more. Let's say 10 and 10. Let's make it even bigger, I think. So let's say 22, maybe 20. And then let's make the icon a little bit bigger, maybe 40, maybe 35. Okay, great. And now these group buttons will add gap spacing of, let's say, 20 for now. So we can have home, we can, let's change this to bookmarks. So this can be bookmarks. We can have profile. So we would also have messaging, we would have everything, but right now we're just going to do these. Profile would be, why don't we just do that one for now? It's fine. We can always change it later. Okay, so we have profile. And I think that's fine for now. And then let's also add a post button. So what we can do is click on add a button below. You can say tweet layout. We will uncheck fixed width because I want it to be the full length. And then when we click that, what I'm going to do is, for now, let's just go to page index, because you can tweet just from the home page very easily. On Twitter, they have a pop-up that shows up, but I don't really feel like building that out right now. All right, so I also want this floating group. Let's have this group button. Let's just add padding on the top of 20. So that way we have the same spacing. And then what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and make it a reusable element. So I'm going to convert to a reusable element, which is going to be left side nav, and create it. In the reusable element, let's add workflow. So when you click home, we're going to go to the index page. When we click bookmarks, we don't have actually a bookmark page yet, but when we click profile, let's go to a page, profile, where the data to send is current user. Okay, cool. And then tweet, we already have go to page index because that's getting sent over from the what we already did. So now we can go back to that profile page. We can search for our left side nav, drag it in, and we can delete the group buttons that we had. And then we can do that on every page. We actually should just include the logo in there as well, because there's no reason not to do that. So I'm going to cut that logo, go to the left side nav, and let's paste the logo in, and then let's remove that top padding of 20. And then for the logo, let's change it to logo, and then add a workflow where navigate to index. Okay, so we'll go back to the index page here. So here we can just left side nav, drag it in. Awesome. We can do that on the tweet page, delete the logo, left side nav, drag it in. And then for the profile, delete that. Okay, great. So profile, tweet, index. So this just makes it easier. So anytime you want to add to that left side nav, we add messages, we add anything else, we can do it right here from the left side nav. Perfect. So again, also just to kind of clarify, right now we're only building the desktop version. If we built a mobile version, we would have to change this and build it so it's mobile responsive. But right now it's only going to work on desktop. Okay, so I think the last thing I really want to do right now is build in a way to log in, sign up, and be able to actually create an account to use this app. And then we can test it out because we'll actually be able to create a user and make sure everything is working correctly. So let's add a new page. It's going to say sign up, and we can clone from the index, and then we're going to delete most of the things. But there's a couple things that it might make it a little bit easier. So let's delete that floating group. Under the container, let's, under the margin left, 0. Let's uncheck. So under that container, I want to have padding of 20 on all sides. Let's go ahead and just delete everything inside. So we're going to have a group on top, which is a column. And then let's delete the repeating group tweets. And then the group post container, let's remove that bottom border. So we basically just have a blank page. What we're going to do is on Twitter, there's kind of a left and right side. So let's say this is group left. And then let's add another group, which is group right. They're both going to be columns. Uncheck. And then what I'm going to do for the container is change it to a row so they're next to each other. And I'm going to go ahead and add in an image to the left side and upload a Twitter logo. And maybe we could get a higher quality logo. Okay, so I found a little bit of a higher quality logo here for the left side. And then on the right side, we're going to add in text. So we have happening now is what it says on Twitter. We'll do an H6, or sorry, maybe an H1. And then we're going to have below it, we'll say join today, and we'll make that an H3. And then what we're going to do is add gap spacing of 10. And then let's add a button, which is going to say create account. And we can have the min width be like 250 here, maybe 300. And then what we can do is below, we can just have another one that says sign in. And this can be the outline button. And let's change some of the styling on the outline button. Let's make the roundness 50. And I think that's it for now. Okay, cool. So create account and sign in. Let's just add a row gap of like 20 here. And then that's fine. Okay, great. Happening now, join today. And then what I want to do is let's center these. So vertical alignment is centered for the logo. The logo itself I want centered. And then group right, I want that vertically aligned centered. So just a very simple kind of landing page. It's a little bit simpler than actually Twitter, but it is what it is. I'm also going to change the color here of these buttons. So the primary color is going to be the Twitter color. So let me go to styles, style variables, primary color. And I'm just going to change that primary color to the hex code 1DA1F2, which is Twitter. So now if we go back to our design, all of our primary buttons will all be that Twitter color. So that's great. Okay, so we have our create account and we have our sign in. So what I want to do is when we click create account or sign in, we're going to have a pop-up to allow us to do that. So let's go back to our profile page. And what I want to do is copy that pop-up, edit profile, go back to the sign up page. Let's paste that in. So this is going to be pop-up create account. So what I'm going to do is let's delete those for now. We might come back to it. So what I'm going to do is have a few fields. One is going to be email. And we're going to say delete for initial content. Placeholder is going to be email. Name, and this is going to be input email. This is going to be text username. So change this to username. We're going to delete the initial content. The placeholder is going to be username. Group username. This doesn't matter too much, but just group email. Under this input email, I can change the content type to email. Then then let's paste again. This is going to be group email, username, and password. So this will be password, text password, and here content type is password, placeholder is password. Email, username, password. And let's take this button, drag it to the bottom, and this will be create account. And then we will also, under these inputs, what I'm going to do is check this input should not be empty. This input should not be empty. This input should not be empty. Okay, cool. So one big thing that we need to do is make sure that the username is unique. So to do this, when we hit create account, we're going to add a workflow. We're going to add a condition here. So we're going to say only when we do a search for user where username equals the input. Let me make sure the inputs are all correct here. Input email, input username, and then this is input password, so I can correctly get them in the edit. So we're going to create an account where searching for users where username equals input username's value. So we're going to say only when we search for users, count is 0. So if the count is greater than 0, that means that this username is taken. So we're going to close. And if the count is 0, we're going to create, sign the user up. Email is input email's value. Password is input password's value. And that's going to sign the user up. Now, if the user name is taken, I'm going to add text above here, and it's going to say username taken, please try a different username. This, I'm going to change the color to red. By default, we're going to not load it on page and collapse when hidden. This is going to be username taken alert. And when we create an account, we edit the workflow, we're going to copy this, paste it, so when it is greater than 0, so it does exist, we're going to show an element. We're going to show that username taken alert. So this is going to show when we try to create an account, but that username is taken. Cool. Okay, great. I'm also going to add, I think that's fine for now. So we're going to show it's taken. Please try a different username. Okay, great. So we're going to have that user create their account. But then what I want them to do is add their profile information. So to do that, I'm going to go back to that profile, edit profile. And what I'm going to do is copy that pop-up. Let's go back to that index page, or not the index, the sign up page. So we have that pop-up, create account. What I want to do is paste in that pop-up edit profile. I'm going to change it to pop-up create profile. I'm going to get rid of this X. I'm going to take the button save to the bottom. I'm going to change it to say continue. And then what I'm going to do is delete that top part. I'm going to go back. Let me add text on the top, and it's just going to say complete your profile. And we can go ahead and make that like an H4. And then for each of these elements, I'm going to say this input should not be empty. This input should not be empty. This input should not be empty. And this input should not be empty. And we can delete the initial content. this is going to say that's fine, name, bio, delete initial content. And then what we can do is on the pop-up itself, say it cannot be closed by pressing escape. The only way to close is by entering in the info and clicking continue. So let's add the workflow when you hit continue. And what we want to do is say make changes to current user, which is the bio, which is the profile name, which is the header picture, and the header profile. Okay. So we have input, bio edits value, input name edits value, then we have header's value, and the profile uploader's value. Okay, great. And once we do that, we can navigate, go to a page, which is the index. And then what we can do here is after we sign the user up, we're going to show an element, which is that pop-up create profile, which is what we just did. Okay, awesome. So the last thing we need to do is the sign in button. So when we click create account, let's make sure we are showing that correct pop-up, which is pop-up create account. And then for signing in, we're going to go to that pop-up create account. Let us copy it, paste, so we don't have to do everything from scratch. This will be pop-up log in. And then what we're going to do is email password. We don't need username. And then this is going to say log in. And what I'm going to do is say input email login, password input password login, so I know we're pulling from the right thing. We're going to click login, add workflow. We're going to say log the user in, where email equals email login's value, password equals password, login's value. And once we log the user in, we'll go to a page, which is the index. Okay, great. And I want to do one more thing, have these X's work. So we're going to add a workflow. We're going to hide an element. So when this X is the login. So make sure you're hiding the correct pop-ups here. So icon hide login. Then we will show the other ones real quick. So create profile, we don't have one there. And then this is icon sign up. And when we click that, we're going to hide an element, which is pop-up create account. Okay, which is, yes, create account, which is different from create profile. And then we could add a forgot your password functionality, but I'm not going to do that in this tutorial just because I don't think it's crucial. Okay, awesome. So I think we are in pretty good shape. So let's preview this app and see how it works. So we have our Twitter happening now, join today. So let's say if I click create account, that'll show up. If I click sign in, it looks like I didn't build that yet. So let me just add that workflow real quick. Show an element, pop-up, login. Okay, so we'll preview again. So sign in, log in, create account, and let me create an account real quick. Okay, so I created my email, username, password, create account. Now it wants me to complete my profile, so I can add images right here real quick. Let me do that. Okay, so I just added my header image and my profile, add my name and founder, no code MBA. I really like the way this looks. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And here we are. So we're on the main screen. So a couple things I'm already noticing. So this is not taking up the whole area. So let me just try and fix that real quick. So let's go to our group tweet container. So this, let's say zoom instead of rescale, and then on the index page, we'll change this to zoom anywhere there's a profile picture. And then on the profile, let's do the same thing, zoom. And let's go back and see how that looks. So let me go to the home. And better, but there's still something off. So let's go back and see what we need to do here. I think under the layout, I just need to make it uncheck aspect ratio and just make it 150. Basically force it to be 1-to-1 here. So let's see if that works on the index as well. Oh, I see that the issue is the aspect ratio fixed is not 1-to-1. So let me change that to 8, or really 1-to-1 aspect ratio, and make sure that's the same on the profile. It was, and then make sure it's the same on the group container. It's not. So 1-to-1. Okay. So now let's go back to the index, click preview. And awesome. Okay, so now it is working correctly. This is my first tweet. Let's hit post. And there we go. All right, so we have our first tweet here. The username is not showing up. So I think that I may have forgotten to add that when we created our account. So if we go back to the sign up page, workflows, we're creating the account. So we're signing the user up. Yes, but I forgot to add the username equals input username's value. Under this workflow where we know that the username is not taken and we didn't save it to the user. So I'm going to go to data, app data, users, and let's just manually add this in for me. So username is Seth, and I'll save that. So let's go back to the index. Let's preview. This is also bothering me a little bit that it's not over, so let me fix that as well. Under the left side nav, it just looks because it looks like it's the logo I uploaded. Let me upload a better one. Okay, so this is better. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. And now there's no extra space. So that looks better. Awesome. So what we're going to do to make this look a little bit more like Twitter, where there's kind of margin on each side. And this is something you'd have to alter on mobile. So when the screen size gets to a certain size, change it. But on this floating group, I'm going to add margin left of 100. On the container, I'm going to add margin left to 400 now, so there's more space. And then margin right, I'm going to add 100 as well. So basically, we're just adding margin on either side. Let's do that on the profile page as well. Margin left of 100. Container, we'll change that left to 400 and right to 100. And on the tweet page, we'll do the same. Left of 100 and 400 and 100. And then tweet profile. Okay, so I think we've done it everywhere we need to do. Let's go back and see how this looks. So there's different ways that we could do this. We could have, instead of a floating group, it could just be a column, and then we could have padding on each side. So there's different ways we could do it, but this way works, and I think makes it look a little bit better with the white space on each side. I just want to go, one thing I want to do here to make it look a little bit better and a little bit more like Twitter is go back. On this container, I also want to add a right border. So we're going to have independent borders on the right. We're going to do solid. We're going to do that same line. And we're going to do that on all the pages. So same thing, container, independently, border right, solid, And actually, to do this, we could even make it a style. So maybe that'll be a little bit easier. So I'll go back to the profile where we did it already. Let's create a new style, which is going to be page container, and just create it. And then if I go back to the index page, I can just go to the container, call it a page container, and then that right column is going to show up. And then same for the tweet. We'll go to the container and change it to a page container. So it's always good to use these concepts when you can, so you don't have to repeat yourself. Okay, so let's go back. Let's check it out. Cool. Okay, so that one needs to be fixed as well for the image, but we'll go back home. And this is looking pretty good. So you can see we have that right side now too. So this is my first tweet. Is it letting me click? So I can, oh, I see. So it's the outline, but really I want that to be the full thing. And then if I hard it, same thing, I want it to be filled in. And this is also, I think, too dark of a gray. So let's make some of these small changes. This is all part of building in Bubble to make it look the way that you want it to. So first, I want to go to the profile, the tweet page. Leave a reply. We need to make this zoomed profile picture. Under the group tweet container, the group container, the conditional, when it's hovered, it needs to be a lot lighter than that. So just be a really light gray, barely gray. And then for the icon bookmark, what I want to say is the icon color. Now, I think that the issue is that this icon is not filled in. So solid is what I need to pick. And then that should now work correctly. So I'm going to say when it contains or this icon is hovered. We'll do the same change here where we'll change the icon to, well, you know what? I still want this to be regular by default, which is bookmark. But here, what I want to do is change the color, and I'm just going to change the icon to be that solid color. Okay, great. That's what I want it to do. And then the same thing for the heart. When it meets that criteria or this icon is hovered, I want to also change the icon to be the solid font awesome heart. Okay, and then that looks good. I do want to change this row gap to like 2 and 2 to make it even smaller here. Okay, and then let's make this a little bit bigger, 12 and 12 for the group post bottom. Okay, so let's see if that fixes what we were doing. A lot of this is just trial and error. So that already looks a lot better. And if you hover, that looks really nice. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, awesome. So I can bookmark it. I can uncheck that. And then we can click and go into the tweet. And then this is the tweet page. This we probably don't want that hover on the tweet page, but that's not the biggest deal. This post your reply, oh, it's the same issue from before, so I can fix that. Go to the tweet page. We will go to this picture, aspect ratio 1:1. There we go. So to fix that hovering issue on the tweet page, basically, so this page title is tweet. So what we can do is go back to the group tweet container and say when the group is hovered and the current page name is not tweet. So now if we go back to our index and preview, and we click on a tweet. Now it still is highlighting, so I have to figure that out and troubleshoot it. But this is looking good now, and I can reply to it. This is my reply and post, and that is all working, which is pretty cool. I do want to see what happens. Another reply. What happens here? Okay, so we need a little line in between these. So to do that, and let's see, is that on the home page as well? I see. So we don't have lines in between the tweets. Okay. So to do that, we just have to go back, and we can go to that reusable element, the group tweet container, and I'm just going to delete the current page is not tweet since that didn't work. We're going to go ahead and let's add a border style independent on the bottom, solid, and make it that line. Okay, so let's go back to the index, preview. Okay, cool. So now we have them separated, which is exactly what we want. If we click on a tweet, here we go, we have the tweet. And I still don't love how this one highlights, but it's not the end of the world. And then we can go back to the home page as well. So it is all working now. If we click this comment, cool. Now this is popping up, but the same issue here, so we need to fix that. And then I also want to do a couple of things on the highlight here as well. But so let's make a couple small changes. So let's go back to that group tweet container. Under the pop-up, same issue here. We just have to change this to zoom, change the layout to 1:1. Same here, 1:1 aspect ratio. And then appearance, change to zoom. And then I'm going to get out, and when we hover over the icon here, what I also want to do is icon color and icon, same exact things we did before. Change it to the solid message. Actually, which one is this? This is Font Awesome, which is this one, but we'll do solid, which is this one, and we'll change it to blue. Okay, when it's hovered. And I'm going to say instead of when the icon is hovered, when group comments is hovered. Okay. And perfect. So now let's go back and see how this looks. So a lot of it is just trial and error and going in and just seeing how it all looks. Okay, awesome. So that's looking a lot better. So if I click on that, it's going to pop up here, and I can say, hello, post, and it should take us here to that tweet and then the post below. Okay, great. Awesome, and then we have our profile. So let's go ahead and add another user and then make sure that it works with multiple users. Okay, this also, oh, I see, a little issue here. Let me just make sure when we get rid of this debug thing for bubble. So you just do that by getting rid of the question mark debug mode equals true. Okay, so that is causing a little bit of an issue here. It looks like we're scrolling, which isn't the end of the world, but we should be able to fix that. And let's see if that, is that also happening on home? You don't have enough tweets yet. So let's tweet again. Let's tweet again, tweet again. And the same thing. So we want the whole page to scroll. We don't necessarily want it to scroll like this. So another small thing, let's see if we can fix that. let's go back into our app. And under the repeating group, what I want to do is fit height to content under the index. And under the container, we're going to click fit height to content. And let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, cool. So now it's working the way we want, where the whole page scrolls when we scroll. So I'm going to go back and update that on also the profile. So the container, we're going to say fit height to content, and same with the repeating group tweets. And then same on the tweet page. So we're going to fit height to content, and the container fit height to content. Okay, cool. So let's open this up in an incognito window, and let's go to the sign up page. And let's click create account. So let's just make the username Seth2, put a password in, and let's create an account. Oh, whoops. Do Seth plus 2. And let's add profiles. Okay, and I just added some fake images here. Under the name, let's just say Bob, bio, I am Bob. Create, continue. Okay, cool. So this is where things are actually really helpful to figure out, like what's showing up, what's not showing up. So it looks like there's certain images that aren't available to this other user. If I click on the tweet, so it's not showing me the profile image or the username of the other user, but I can see, I can like things, I can bookmark them, but I can't see. So let's go back to our privacy settings and see what might be happening. So if I go back to our app and we go to our database, we go to privacy. So here's the issue. The user can see their own data, they can see the fields and everything else, but everyone else cannot see all of the user data. So we want others to be able to see the bio, we want them to be able to see header picture, profile name, username. We don't want them to see in the profile picture. We don't email, we don't want to see, but we want to see those. So just by making that change, we can now see here, I'm logged in as Bob, this new user, and I can see all of the other tweets. So I can say, I love no code and bubble, and I can post it. And I actually need to switch the order here because it's showing up on the bottom. This is where you learn a lot just by using it and testing it. So let's just change the order here, that repeating group, so that we put it, search for tweets, sort by created date, descending, yes. Close it. And why don't we go and preview this as our first user. So I can see Bob tweeted this. Let me go ahead. And I actually want to see also, why is there so much space between these two things? So let's see. Let's go to the group tweet container. And there's probably a minimum height here of 4, of that tweet details. I'm going to change that to 0 and width to 0. So now let's go back to the index. Let's preview. It's a lot of going back and debugging. So here we're back, and this looks a lot better here. So this person, so I love no code and bubble. I can hit reply. We have this cool element here. I can X out. We could have a little hover element on X out, but we don't have that right now. I'll say great. So do I. And post. And awesome. So here it is. You can see the reply. So something we could build on top of this is notifications. So when you reply to someone, that person gets notified. There could be a notification section. There can be a messages section, so you can direct message people. But on a whole, we've built a pretty good version of Twitter in about 2 hours. And I could do it faster as well if I wasn't making a video. So I probably could do it in like an hour if I wasn't making a video. And I think it looks pretty good. There's definitely some design things that we could do to make it even better. A lot of hover animations and UI and stuff like that I don't really want to get into in this video. We could also make it mobile responsive, so it works on all screen sizes. Right now it would break if we make the screen size lower. But hopefully you learned a lot about what is possible with Bubble and no code and how to build a social app like Twitter using Bubble. If you want to learn a lot more about building with Bubble, please check out the link in the description. Go to No Code MBA to check out all of our full in-depth courses that cover building in Bubble in a lot more detail. Everything from the API connector, so you can connect to AI APIs, more responsive design, everything in a lot more detail. We also have tutorials on other no-code tools like Airtable, Zapier, Webflow, covered by experts in the industry, as well as a brand new course covering AI coding, building in Replit with ChatGPT. Be sure to follow our channel, No Code MBA, here on YouTube if you enjoyed this and you want to get more content like this in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.